Hi, welcome back to 3 Spoonsful by Shweta Mehra, or welcome if you're new here. And I'm Shweta and I post recipes every week. Today the recipe is of a stuffed flatbread or a paratha, which is an emotion in India. It's a cauliflower paratha, so it's super easy, it's extremely healthy, and the best part is that it doesn't require too much of prepping time. So let's get started. For the first step, I have made the dough, which is made of wheat flour. It's just wheat flour, salt, some water and some oil. Next, I've shredded the cauliflower here. It's you can either grate it or shred it if you have a food processor, or you can just chop it very finely. Anything will do. Now let's add some masalas to make the filling. So to this cauliflower, I'm adding green chilies, some dhania powder, jeera powder, red chili powder and anardana powder. In the next slide you'll see it. This is the anardana. Next I'm going to be adding some coriander. And let's give this all a good mix. At this point we are not going to be adding any salt. Salt, like you all know, would sweat the vegetables and it draws out the water. Because of that, if you add salt to the entire mix together, it sort of becomes very soggy, and then the parathas, when you are rolling them out, they tend to break. So it's best not to add salt to the whole mixture, but add as you go. So let's get started with the first paratha, the first style of making the paratha. So with my dough, I've taken this huge piece of dough and I'm just going to flatten it out using my hands a little bit. Now what we'll do is we'll take a bit of the filling in a separate bowl. And add salt to this little bowl. Mix it well and then put it in our paratha dough that we just sort of flattened using our hands. While making parathas, it's also very important to remember that you need to keep all the masalas and all your like the dry masalas, your filling, really well spiced, because the dough will always tone it down. So otherwise it becomes extremely mild and sort of tasteless. So whatever, I don't just mean the chilies, but even the salt or any other masalas that you are adding, just make sure to keep them a little stronger than you would normally keep them, and remember that the dough is going to tone it down. So after flattening the whole thing with my hands, I have closed it after adding the filling, and then now I'm going to roll it out into a round, as round as possible paratha. Make sure your hand is a little light while doing this, otherwise it could just break. You can see that the filling is well spread out, it's covering all the edges. And so now let's just go and cook it on gas. Cook it at medium flame. Once it's cooked for a couple of minutes, I'm just going to apply some ghee. And then let's switch sides. Now all we need to do is make sure that it is golden brown and very nicely cooked, and if you like it crisp, you can just increase the flame a little bit and make it nice and golden brown at the end. Now you can see it's cooked well on all sides, so let's dish it out. So this is the first method of making a paratha. You can make any paratha this way. Now let's get started with the second. So for this I have taken 2 balls of dough, which are not as big as the first one, as if you can tell, and they are a little smaller. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to directly roll them out, not to their complete large big size, but roll it out into 2 medium sized chapatis. Again, we take a bit of the filling in a separate bowl, add the salt, and then get mixing. Now we'll spread it all out on the roti that we've just made, on one side rather. This is essentially like making a sandwich. The only thing is that you are going to roll out the sandwich and make it larger. Now on the second roti that I have made, I'm going to be adding a little bit of the ghee or clarified butter. This is just to ensure that it all cooks thoroughly nicely and it gives a very nice crispy layer. So close it and then seal the edges. And these 2 rotis that you make have to be a little thick so that the whole thing doesn't come apart and break while rolling out. If you want, you can give it some rest time of 5 minutes so that everything settles down. So even while making the first type of parathas, you could give it a rest time after doing the filling. Now with a light hand again, roll out the whole rotis. And you can see even in this type of parathas, the filling is nicely coated and it's well spread out. Because otherwise, sometimes it so happens that the filling is concentrated on one edge and the other times you're just eating like a lot of wheat flour, which doesn't really taste so great. So again, the paratha goes on the tawa and let's get cooking. Just be a little gentle with this 2-layered paratha because it could open out otherwise. And here you can see that we have cooked it nicely and thoroughly and made it crisp and nice. You can serve these parathas, of course, with some white butter, with some regular butter, with some pickle, or with some curd, which is my favorite. I love to have a paratha with some curd. So let's serve these parathas and make sure that everybody enjoys them. They taste yummy, they are warm and comforting and very easy to make. I hope you've liked this recipe, and if you did, do share it, subscribe, like the channel, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for notifications, and watch out for my videos every week. Bye!